Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second session of the Science Communications block of the GRADS 2022 Science Collaboration Series. In the session today, we will look into how to do an engaging presentation. So let me just share my screen to do the brief introduction. As I mentioned, this session today is going to focus on how to do an engaging presentation. And this is the second session in the Science Communications block. Yesterday, we looked into how to do a publishable paper with two editors from Nature Science Communication. If you would like to access this session, you can email us and we'll provide you a link. This session couldn't have been made public due to copyright and commercial restrictions of the Nature publishing house. But the other sessions will be publicly available on GRA's YouTube. So after today, we will also talk about making research more policy relevant and looking into political processes. And finally, after that, on Thursday, we will look into research storytelling. And today with us, we have Merryn McKinnon. She's a Senior Lecturer Associate Director of Education at the Australian National Centre for Public Awareness of Science. She designs and delivers science communications workshops and also focuses on women and specifically focuses on women in STEM. She also has a PhD in science communication and regularly contributes to ABC Radio and Sydney Nightlife Radio. So we're very happy and privileged to learn from you today, Merryn. Over to you.
Through with you today is figuring out how you can be an effective presenter. And so this does translate to conference presentations, but you can also use it in pretty much all aspects of your research and your professional life. Today will not be a day of sitting there listening to a talking head. It's going to be very interactive, and I want you to be able to do things because realistically, communication is a little bit like driving a car. You can read the manual and think, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. But once you get behind the wheel, it's a very, very different proposition indeed. So I would like to start off today just by doing a little bit of an introduction. I don't need everybody because we're not necessarily going to have a lot of time. Well, let's see how we go. So what I would like you to do is I'm just going to go around, or actually, can I change the view? Yes, I can. So we'll just call names, and as you introduce yourself and a one-liner about your research and what you're doing, and then pass it to the person on the screen who's next to you. So to be, hi, my name's Merryn. I work on the intersections between science, publics, and media. Joanne, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Joanne. I work for the GIS Secretariat, and I've got a background in biotechnology and research with my fungus and bacteria. So I will give the speech to Richo Beranu.
Yes. Yeah, I'm Richo, and I'm from Ethiopia, and I'm working on biodiversity conservation and management.
Okay, please pass to somebody else.
Sorry?
Can you please pass to the person who's next to you on your screen?
Okay. I think to go on.
Hello? Bubu Bagre. Yeah, hello. Bubu Bagre from Burkina. I'm Burkinabe. I'm working on development and characterization of sensible heat story for CSP, for CSP, yeah. So I will give a floor to Banira.
Hi everyone, I'm Vanira Lombardi, and I am from Argentina, and I work in measuring greenhouse gas emissions from manure like urine and dung from cattle. And I post the turn to Yukon Lin.
Yes, hello. I'm Yu Ling. I'm from China, but I'm currently studying Italy. My research topic is about extreme events and ENSO. I am the climate scientist. So I will pass it to Ferradi Abui. Hello.
Hello. Hello. I'm Ferede Abuye Jeldu from Ethiopia, and working on ecosystem services and biodiversity. Thank you very much.
Who would you like to pass on the microphone to?
It looks like it might be frozen. How about Fernanda? Have you already gone?
Hello. Hi, I'm sorry, was it Vanda? Okay, sorry. I think my internet connection is not so good, but okay, I'll give it a go. I'm actually from Fiji, but I'm a postdoc at the University of Bergen here in Norway. So I'm working in this interdisciplinary project with people from anthropology and law and climate science, who are looking at how sea level rise in the Pacific Islands is going to affect the maritime zones of the Pacific Islands. So I am climate scientist, and in that project I work on modeling sea level for the Pacific. Thank you. And on my screen, the next person is Titis Tapdini, but I think she's spoken. Okay,
no, I haven't.
Oh, okay, you haven't. Okay, okay, please go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Titis. I am measuring greenhouse gas emissions from dairy farming systems to identify mitigation options using case study in Indonesia and Costa Rica. And I'm passing the microphone to Rogerio.
Hi everyone, I'm H.M. Rahman. Hi everyone, I'm H.M. Rahman. I'm a postdoctoral research fellow. I don't know why I get muted all the time. But anyways, my research is, have you heard me? I'm David Rahman, and I'm currently based in Canada, working as a postdoctoral research fellow at the University of Saskatchewan. My research mostly focuses on climate change adaptation and climate governance in particular. Thank you. And I would like to introduce Joanne Manjul.
I've already spoken.
Oh yeah, you already have.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Maybe we can.
Then Anna.
Hi everybody, Anna from Colombia. I am marine biology and I'm working with coral reefs and special tolerance to extreme events and climate change. That's my work research. So
I might just jump in here because we've heard from him before, and I'm aware of the time, because I do want to hear from everybody. But as we've all gone through, can you remember everybody's names and research projects? So if I said, you know, who's the marine biologist, who's working on quantifying climate change, who's working with urine, can you remember who's doing all of those things? Because what you've been given right now is just a whole bunch of facts. So what I would like us to do is whip around now, and this has to be quick. And I don't know about other people, but I find it really difficult when I can't see faces to remember. So if it is possible and practical for you to put your camera on, my ailing memory would really appreciate it. If you're not comfortable doing that, that's fine. But thank you to everybody. Look at your beautiful faces. That's wonderful. So what I would like us to do now is just to go around and say your name and what you're passionate about. So, hi, my name is Merryn and I'm passionate about coffee. Let's go to Ekaterina. You can play this time.
Mine, there are so many things. Hi, my name is Ekaterina and I'm passionate about cooking.
Then Joanne.
Hi, my name is Joanne and I'm passionate about traveling.
Hey, nice.
It has been
I
hard.
apologize in advance for when I completely mangle everybody's names. Please correct me. Benira.
Hi, I'm passionate about taking photographs.
Ooh, nice. Thank you. Freire. Looks like he's frozen again. Okay, Titus.
Hi, I'm Titis. I'm passionate about hiking.
Nice, thank you. Yukon.
Yes, hi, I'm Yutong. I'm passionate about watching sport games.
Ah, you'll be enjoying the Olympics at the moment then. Rogerio.
Hi, I'm passionate about agriculture.
Ooh, sounds like you're in the right program. Okay, thank you. Fernanda.
Hi, I'm passionate. My name is Fernanda. I'm passionate about the beach and to cook. I love to cook.
Excellent, thank you. Abdullah.
Hey everyone, I don't have an occasion to present myself. My name is Abdullah Tiano. I am from Burkina Faso, West Africa. I am a climate change scientific specialist on agroforestry contribution on climate change. Thank you.
What are you passionate about? What
My
do you really enjoy?
about is agroforestry.
Okay, all right then, thank you. Gonfa.
Okay, thank you. My passionate is visiting the forests.
Ooh, nice. Okay, thank you very much. Anna.
I love to see the moon through my window.
She likes to watch. Okay, thank you very much. Who do we have? Tuhede Rahman. Sorry, I know I mangled that one.
That's fine. My passion is also cooking. Yeah, I love it.
Okay. Got quite a few cooks here. You've got a good network to tap into should you all end up in the same spot at the same time. Iris.
I am passionate about making picnic with my kids.
Nice. Thank you. Disha.
Hey, I'm Disha, and I'm passionate about reading books, specifically fiction.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. No problem. So as we were going around then, what did you notice? If I said, who's passionate about cooking? Can you start to identify people? If I said, who likes yoga? Who likes reading? How many football players do we have? Can you start to identify more people? Yep. Because when we were talking just about the research before, unless it was something, it was facts. It was like, yeah, okay, that sounds interesting. But unless you were really interested in that particular topic, you didn't really connect with it very much. But when we started talking about what we were passionate about, the way people started talking was quite different as well, but you started to identify things that resonated with your audience. It was a personal connection. It was, oh, I like that too, or oh, that's interesting, or wow, I can't do that. That's really cool. And it's those kinds of things which we need to start thinking about as we're talking about our work. So there are two golden rules to communication. First one, know your audience. Who are you talking to? And we'll unpack that a bit in a minute. The second one is know your goal. So by the time you have finished communicating with your audience, what is the one thing that you want them to remember, know, feel, do? If you always focus on these two things anytime you are communicating with an audience, that will help you be more effective in your communication. So know your audience. We know now, well, all of you are working in the same kind of research area. And if you go to a conference, you know that you are going to be speaking to people who are going to be interested in the same kinds of things as you. But you need to figure out other ways to connect with your audience. And it might be something like, I've lost her, where's the storyteller? They're like Taiwo, she said, I live in the most degraded part of the world and I want to see the change. And that was enough to immediately put her in her work, in her story, in her research. And you can do that through what you say, showing a photo, connecting yourself with your work and trying to create a personal connection with your audience. When you're sitting in a conference or a day of student presentations or everything else, no matter how interested you are in the topic, if it's all just about science, slide, graph, after a while you think, I can't stay awake much longer. But if you can mix it up, if you can start to connect with your audience on a personal level about what motivates you, what you're interested in, what's important to you, then this can help bring your science to life a little bit more and connect with them in a deeper, more meaningful way. Now, quite often when we are communicating our work, we have a very clear picture about what we want to do and the image that we want to get across. Doesn't always work that well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put you into pairs. So this is going to be a multi-step instruction for you. Each of you is going to need a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper. So I'll give you a couple of minutes just to dig them out now. While you rummage around, I'm going to put you into breakout rooms and we are going to assign automatically, and then we have 31 people, take off 2. So I'm going to put us into that. Now what I'm going to do is, there'll be one room of 3, I think, that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call out your name. If your name is called, you stay in this breakout room with me. If you get automatically pushed into the breakout room, come back to the main meeting room. So if your name is called, you stay with me. And for other people, you are going to go into your pair. So what is going to happen is the people who stay with me, I am going to show you a message. The message is the same, it's a group of shapes. And then your job is to describe that message in a way that your partner can make a perfect recreation of it. But some rules. Both of you have to have your cameras off. And if you are the person who is being described to, you have to stay on mute. You are not allowed to talk. So I'll call you senders and receivers. Senders will stay with me to get the message. Receivers will wait in the breakout room with your camera off and your microphone off. The sender will come in, describe the message to you, and then when you think you're done, you can come back. But there cannot be any communication between the two of you. So, senders, what I'm going to do now is show you a picture. This is your message. This is what you need to describe to your receiver. So take a screenshot, copy it down, do whatever you need to do. And I'll see if I can get Fernanda back again. No, I can't get it back. All right. Once you have copied it down, please feel free to go and join your partner and start giving them the message. So all right, here everybody is. So we've already had a little bit of a show and tell, but can all of the receivers please show us the message that they reproduced? So up to the screen, show us what you got.
Okay. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear him what he described, but roughly I captured some pointers. He told me, in fact, I didn't capture all the information because there was a connection problem. But he told me about some pictures, some pictorial descriptions. There is, can I draw for you or just can I describe?
Hold it right up to your camera so we can see.
Okay. There is what he told me. My camera is normally. Sorry, my PC camera is not that good. He told me
Something is happening.
There is a rectangle or somehow a box, and just as one of the apex of this rectangle coincide with a circle with somehow gray color, and immediately to this circle there is also another box or somehow dark in color, and followed by the same circle with gray color. And finally, there is series of two dark rectangles, and at the end there is a box with dark color. I just captured this only these points. I couldn't get 100% the message.
No, that's okay. And that really, I mean, all of you were given exactly the same message, and yet almost every single receiver has come away with something different. And so this can happen when we're communicating. We know very clearly in our minds what we want to say, but the way that that is received and understood by our audience can be very, very different. So how do we actually try and get to the point where our audience leaves with the same picture as we did? Now, Titis came away with something that looks like a photocopy. So what worked for you? How did Anna describe it so that you knew exactly what she was talking about?
First, of course, the shape. And she described the color. I think that's more striking point, the last one that I got. Oh, there is a different shading, but it's actually not a different color, but actually different shading. So I added some kind of a final touch in the drawing.
Yep. So did anybody, a lot of you all have all the shapes the same kind of size. Did any of your senders tell you that to start off with? Some did, some didn't.
No.
No? Okay. I have seen before where in the room, someone will say, right, draw a square. And so they draw a big square. To the right of that square, and you see the receiver look down at their paper, turn the page over because they've drawn a square that's taken up the entire page. So if you tell your audience what to expect, give them an overview. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a series of shapes that are all connected and all the same size. That immediately sets that expectation, and you can do the same thing in a presentation. Today, I'm going to talk to you about blah, and then you fill in what blah is. So you give people an overview, you tell them what to expect. Sometimes things happen which you can't control, like your audience can't hear, they can't get all of the information. And then it's a lot easier if you have things behind you, if you have something you can show you. And I'm being deliberately awful by saying you can't do that this time. What else did you use? So how did you describe where shapes were on the page relative to each other?
Hi, Merryn. Sorry to interrupt here, but somehow I think there was some problem with the connection. I did not get any message from my sender. I think it was Bobo Barj Bagri. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's no problem. We'll try and fix it next time around, but if I could fix internet, believe me, I would. Okay. Others, how did you know where to place things? Where to put things on a page? Were there really good instructions?
So in our group, Anna described at the very beginning that there are 3 different shapes that we are going to have to draw.
Mm-hmm.
And then she described clearly that you should put this shape first, and then there is something on the right of that, and then on the right of a circle, and on top of these 2. So I think it was very well described, like when she put it at the very beginning, that there are different shapes that we are going to draw together. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And for the senders, how was that for you, talking to absolutely nothing? Did you enjoy it? Did you know where your receiver was up to? Were you going too fast?
Okay, this guy.
It was a bit difficult trying to explain the exact position to place each of those shapes. I think, like, for the little triangle, I told the receiver the direction, though the direction, according to my own diagram, it's on the left, but I have to explain to him to put it towards the right. So that was what really happened. But I think I enjoyed the experience.
Excellent. Any others?
Okay, so for me, I was not seeing the expression of my receiver, so it was really difficult to get if she is getting what I'm saying, or am I describing it correct, and how should I explain the organization of different shapes, because they're not in the same place. And so I was trying to figure out that how to explain this thing. It just actually happened the same way my previous speakers told. So yeah, it was really difficult to explain the position of each shapes naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sort of forcing you into this difficult scenario. So you really need to think about what you want to say and the outcome that you're after. So it's a matter of being very clear from the outset what you want to do. It's about not going too fast. And it's about sometimes repeating what you've told the person just to help them clarify and keep up. Now, one of the other things that we do in science is use a lot of jargon. And they're technical words that maybe not everybody is going to understand. So this time, when we do it again, shape names are jargon. You can't use shape names. You can't even use the word shape. And I'm only going to give you 2 minutes to do this. Oh, look, 3. Here we go. Here is your picture. So this is what you have to describe to your receiver without using any shape names.
Hello.
Okay, just giving people about 30 more seconds and then we'll see what everybody got. What's that look, Iris? Okay, people are looking a lot less certain when they're coming back this time. There's a bit more head shaking.
It was hard.
I know. I took away jargon. It's awful.
It was really hard.
It's mean to make you think like that, isn't it? All right. I'm getting everybody back now. There we go. Everybody's back. So can I please ask all of the receivers to show us the message that they ended up with? Nice. Artistic. Oh, yeah, okay, there's elements there. Oh, I'm seeing guidelines and stuff. And Fernanda's still laughing. Oh, Titus, okay. So we have some very, very different interpretations of the messages. Oh, Benita, 3 boxes. I like it. Or what happened this time? A lot of people came back and said, it was harder. Yes, I know. Because I took your jargon away. I took the shape names away. So how did you talk about shapes without using their names or saying the word shape? What did you do?
Yeah, so for me, yeah, I described it as a tree-shaped figure with equal sides. It was easy describing I said it was round at the other side, but I had problem describing the bigger round, and I hope she got it.
Okay, so who is your partner?
Me.
Benira.
Yes. But I'm trying to remove the filter of the camera because I can show the image. You can see
I can see it there.
Let me see. I want to see it. Where are you?
It looks like 3 squares, and then it looks like you've got the big round figure in the bottom right-hand side. So it's there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
It was super difficult.
Yeah. So what did other people use to try and describe these 3-sided round things? What kind of language did you use?
I used shape of objects that could look like it.
Okay, like what?
Like an apple or grapes.
Yes, yeah. Food. Everyone can
a
identify
notebook.
Food. Yep, a notebook. Great. Others, did you do something similar?
Yeah,
I actually used a form without any corner, perfectly like a moon.
A moon, yeah. Okay. That explains that. Okay, it's all starting to make a lot more sense now. That's why we had the crescent moon, I think. Yeah. All right. So, but yeah, a full moon. Absolutely. What else did people use?
Okay, my use pyramid. And then a soccer ball.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So with all of these, you're using things which anyone can identify. So it's familiar objects to explain complex ideas. And it can be things like, trees, pyramids, coins, donuts, wheels, tires. It's a whole range of different things which you can use, which people can visualize, and that's enough to help them understand what they're meant to be looking at. Sometimes if you're not specific, then you can get different interpretations. We have had someone, it's only happened once ever, someone said draw a box, and someone drew a 3-dimensional box like they were looking into a carton. That's very artistically inclined. I can't do that. So it's about making it simple for your audience to understand. It's about not going too fast. It's about setting the expectation expectations of what they need to do. Because if you are constantly thinking about, I think I missed a step, I don't know what's coming next, it's very hard for you to listen and to pay attention. And so when we are talking to audiences, if we lose them along the way, quite often they can panic and think, I don't know what's coming next. I don't know where I'm meant to be up to. I don't understand. I'll stop listening and I'll leave. So it's about setting expectations, telling people what to expect, going slowly enough for people to follow along, repeating key points, particularly at the end. You know, here's the one thing I would really like you to take away from this talk today, and helping people come on that journey with you. Now, we've only got a few minutes remaining, if my timekeeping is correct. So I wanted to touch on how you could start your talk, or you could use it for a grant application, or even a biography that you might put on your professional department webpage. I won't go into it in heaps of detail because you're getting a whole session on storytelling. But one of the ways that you can start to talk about your research is by using a structure called ABT. So A for and this is, if you think about a literature review of a paper, that's a whole heap of ands. It's giving information. This is a big problem, and there's a lot of degradation, and it's caused by deforestation, and it happens this quickly. But if you think about a story doesn't really start until something happens, which is where the but comes in. So you're talking about your research and you say, I am looking at how we can measure the impacts of climate change in this particular area. But there is a problem. We don't know this particular thing. Therefore, my work is going to explore this. So try and think about your research in those 3 sentences. Here is the situation, but here's the problem. This is how I'm going to try and fix it. And that can give you a good starting point for telling the story of your research in a presentation or in written form. It sets those expectations. This is what I'm going to talk about. And then you can use image to reinforce what you are saying. You can highlight the important parts. It's okay to repeat them at the end, because you really want to make sure that you know your audience. Who are you talking to? What do they already know about your topic? What do they need to know? Do I need to explain what this tree-shaped thing in the corner actually looks like? They'd appreciate it if you did anyway, because even the most experienced people in your audience will still recognize and respect the skill that goes into being able to take a really difficult idea and making it understandable for everybody. So it's about setting expectations, being clear, using examples that everybody can identify with or visualize, and a picture if that would help. And then being very clear in who you're talking to and what you want them to take away from your message. So really it's about knowing your audience, knowing what you want to achieve, and then helping your audience come with you on the story of your science through your presentation, by giving them references that they can understand, giving them that mental image, so they're leaving with that same understanding that you want to give them. I think we have 3 minutes now for any questions, or if there's something that you would like me to talk about or explain, or anything specific that you're struggling with.
I have one question. Quite sometimes I ask this question because I'm very much confused about it. It's just like when we take out all the jargons, I feel like sometimes we miss the meaning of it. I mean, it's really difficult to explain a particular jargon using some examples because this is too academic to explain. Mm-hmm. So how can we do that? Is there any other way of explaining things like that?
It is okay to use jargon if you tell the audience what it means. So if you can define it in a way that makes sense to an audience, then once you've told them what it is, they're comfortable with that word after that. But if you go in straight away, just using all of the jargon words, what? It's like you're talking another language. So if you want to use the jargon, that's okay, particularly if one jargon word would take about 30 non-jargon words to explain every single time. So just tell people what it is. Make sure that they understand what that word is, define it for them, and then you can keep using it. That's okay. And again, it depends on your audience. If they need to know that jargon word to understand everything else, then tell them that jargon word and use it. If you're talking to a different audience, maybe it's a group of school children, they probably don't need to know that jargon word. So you can use it without it. Does that make sense?
Perfect. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Taiwo, please go ahead with your question.
You mentioned ABT, but you didn't specify what it means. I didn't get the.
I used jargon and I didn't explain it. Thank you, Taiwo. You got me. All right. So ABT, and, but, therefore. So that first sentence, the and, here is the problem. Here is the issue. But here is the problem that I am facing. Therefore, this is what I'm going to do. This is what my work is going to do to try and fix that problem. So you don't have to use the and, but, therefore in each of your sentences, but it's just sort of a useful starting point for you to start thinking about how you would describe your research in 3 sentences.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Yeah, that's fine, Katja.
Titi, please.
Yeah, I have a question, and maybe this is a bit silly. If you present and you start looking at your audience, and suddenly you can get that some audience nod, means that okay, they get my words, and you start worrying about the rest of the audience who look blank, and you are totally blank because of them. Have you ever had this experience? Because I found it funny when I had this presentation in front of the kids, and not the kids, they are teenagers actually. And when I explain about the greenhouse gas emissions from cow, I start with, my work is about the cow measuring gas, then the cow is actually burp, and they're looking at me like how to say, like I see them as an idiot and they don't know anything about greenhouse gases. So that's also something that is striking me and makes me totally blank.
No, it's a really good question. I would say the first thing is they're teenagers. They look at everybody like that. And quite often they're a very, very difficult audience to start off with. I used to do science shows for school children, including high school children, and teenagers were some of the worst. They would sit there with their arms folded and it'd be like, you could set yourself on fire and I'm not going to be impressed, lady. But then afterwards, they came up and they asked questions. So I wouldn't read too much into the audience, but looking at the audience is actually a great thing to do. So in that drawing exercise, I took all of that feedback away, and you had no idea if your receivers, if your audience was following along or not, if they understood, if they were nodding or going, huh? So looking out at your audience and seeing how people are reacting is actually a really good strategy, both to help you understand if they are following along and if they're with you, and having those nodders, focus on them. That's great. That's your positive reinforcement. You are going to have people who will sit there expressionless. Don't worry about what they're thinking, feeling, or doing. And don't be put off. Sometimes you'll see people who just seem to be on their phone or typing on their computer, and they look like they're not paying attention. I've often found those people are taking notes or they're tweeting about what you're saying or posting about what you're saying so others can share that information as well. If you are looking out at your audience as well, I mean, it's kind of the difference between me talking to you like this or me standing here talking to you doing this for half an hour or so, or maybe 40 minutes. And really, it doesn't matter if you're there or not. So if you are actually looking at your audience, it shows that you care, you're trying to connect with them, you are interested in them as a group. And that can help you create more of that connection. Plus, when the audience knows that you're looking at them, they're more likely to pay attention as well. So I would say, keep looking at your audience. Don't worry about what they're thinking or feeling so much. Like, don't try and put your doubts and your worries on them. If they look really confused, then you can go back and check. You can ask questions. But looking at your audience and creating that personal connection with them can help them feel a part of the conversation. And by you focusing on your audience, it also means that you're not focusing on yourself and worrying about what you're going to say next. And it actually will help you manage any nerves you might have as well. So take the spotlight off you, put it on the audience, and make sure that they're coming along on that ride with you. But yeah, don't try and guess what they're thinking. It's really obvious, which is the smiling, the nodding, or the huh face.
Okay, Taiwo, you had your hand up. Did Merryn answer your question already?
Yeah, well, part of it, but I thought I wanted to give others the opportunity to talk. I don't know where I could ask more questions. I'm still particular about nerves. I get easily nervous talking, and I don't know how to get, and it makes me, it must be great. This is the first time I'm talking freely to somebody I don't know. And I think it makes you a very great person.
Thank you.
It's a fantastic question, yeah.
And I have to say, everybody gets nervous. I was even nervous before I started talking to all of you. And I do this for my job. Me standing up in front of people, talking to them, that's how I make my living. But I think I've learned to accept the nerves. That's the body's adrenaline, that fight or flight response. I think of that as my brain connecting to my mouth. So the words that I need are going to be there. But everybody gets nervous. And the only way to really not let the nerves take control is, unfortunately, to just keep practicing. And that might mean you practice with your colleagues, with your family, go out and talk to your pets. Through high school, I had a very well-educated teddy bear that I would be talking to if I was practicing any presentation I had to do. Just get in the habit of standing up and talking. Everybody gets nervous. It's entirely normal. So one of the things which you can do is try not to have a full script for your talk, but maybe just have that first sentence. If you know where you're starting, if that is really familiar to you, it gives you that place to start. You know what's coming, and then you can relax into it because you know the very first thing you're going to say, and that gets you past that first little bump. Then just relax as best you can, just breathe, and the better you know your content, the better you know your audience, it will start to get easier. So it's just about take a couple of really deep breaths, 3 deep breaths, long inhale, long exhale before you start talking. If you're going out on stage, best advice I can give you, if you have paper notes and you know that you're going to be nervous, don't stand there and hold the paper notes because that can be really distracting. So put them down on something or rest them somewhere. If you know your hands shake, again, entirely normal. Hold on to the lectern, the table. If you don't have any of that, I will sometimes hold my own hand and I hold it down in front of me. And eventually you'll start to relax and you'll be able to let go. The one thing I have tested is that no one can see your knees shake, because sometimes my legs get the shakes as well. And I've had people check and can you see this happening? Like, really? And yeah, no one can actually see your legs shake. And I guess the final thing to remember is that your audiences are going to be sympathetic. No one wants to see you fail. And so they're sitting there and everybody can identify with nerves for public speaking. So give yourself a starting point, breathe, and just trust that the audience are there, wanting you to do well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
All right, so I don't see any other raised hands. So if you thought of some question, that's your chance now. If not, we will have everybody go and thank Merryn for her amazing performance on the workshop today. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I hope
my pleasure.
See you tomorrow. Yeah.
You're welcome.